Hi guys, so this video will serve as an introduction to our Unit 3. So I will begin by discussing the prompt, a little bit about this video, our reading for our essay, and then I'll get into the intro thesis assignment, as well as the initial draft and the final draft assignment. So first, we can go ahead and look at the prompt. So our unit is Inalienable Rights, the American Dream. So our intro thesis will be due October 29th, the initial draft November 5th, and the final draft November 12th. So this essay will be 2 to 3 pages, about 800 words. So you are going to write an analytical essay in response to Thomas Jefferson's belief that all people are born with specific inalienable rights, as stated in the American Declaration of Independence. And it can be found on 569 to 573 in your course textbook. And so an analytical essay means that you're going to be analyzing Thomas Jefferson's argument. So how effective is it? Does he convince his audience? Those are kind of the main questions that you will be asking. So I've given you an outline here. So the intro paragraph is usually brief for an analytical essay. It must contain some essential information. And so here there's an acronym SOAPS to help you kind of conceptualize the introduction. So SOAP spells speaker, occasion. They're not in the right order, but audience, purpose, and subject. It should go in the order that you see it here, okay? So first, you need the speaker, the writer's first and last name, their credentials, the type of text, the title of the text, and a strong verb, and the writer's subject. Okay, and I give you an example here. Well-known essayist and writer Joan Didion, in her essay, The Santa Ana, describes the dramatic mood-altering effects of the Santa Ana winds on human behavior. Okay, then we need the purpose. So write the writer's last name. The purpose is to blank. So example, Didion's purpose is to impress upon readers the idea that winds themselves change the way people act and react. Then we have the audience. He or she adopts an blank attitude or feeling conveyed by the writer in order to blank. So here we go. She creates a dramatic tone in order to convey to her readers the idea that the winds are sinister and their effects inescapable. So here's a full example of an intro paragraph. Novelist Amy Tan, in her narrative essay, Fish Cheeks, recounts an embarrassing Christmas Eve dinner when she was 14 years old. Tan's purpose is to convey the idea that at 14 she wasn't able to recognize the love her mother had for her or the sacrifices she made. She adopts a sentimental tone in order to appeal to similar feelings and experiences in her adult readers. Okay, so notice that it has everything that it's asking for here. Speaker, occasion, subject, purpose, and audience. It's all in this paragraph here. So if we can jump ahead just for a second, you'll notice when you get to the when you get to the intro thesis assignment, okay, I've provided for you the same exact outline right there with the example. So you are going to be creating that same exact introduction for Jefferson's text. Okay, so for the Declaration of Independence, you're going to find the speaker, occasion, subject, purpose, and audience, and your paragraph should look very much like this one here, but again, you were writing on Jefferson's text, okay? And then we get to the body, okay? So the body should include the issue you have chosen to analyze and how it's connected to your argument. After stating the problem, present your argument. When you start analyzing the text, pay attention to the stylistic devices, the hows of the text the author uses to convey some specific meaning. You must decide if the author accomplishes his goal of conveying the ideas to the reader. Do not forget to support your assumptions with examples and reasonable judgment. Okay, so what we're getting at here is what kind of rhetorical strategies is Jefferson using in his text? And if you notice, we can go back here to our modules. In our 1022 folder, you will find a Rhetoric and Rhetorical Strategies lecture video there. You will want to watch that video and take really good notes because I go into all the rhetorical strategies and how they can be used in various texts. So you'll want to take notes and try to figure out, once you read the Declaration of Independence here, you will want to try to find rhetorical strategies as you read so that you can already start to figure out what kind of strategies you want to write about in your essay. Okay. And then your personal response will show a deeper understanding of the text, and by forming a personal meaning about the text, you will get more out of it. Do not make the mistake of thinking that you only have to have a positive response to a text. If a writer is trying to convince you of something but fails to do so, in your opinion, your critical response can be very enlightening. The key word here is critical. Base any objections on the text and use evidence from it. Okay? So every analysis paragraph must. So this is still the body of the essay. Identify the part of the text you are analyzing by using transition words and strong verbs to explain what is being said. Identify the strongest rhetorical strategies used in that particular section. This includes incorporating specific text examples, exact words from the text or quote, into your own words. Do not try to discuss every strategy the writer uses. Pick the strongest. Clearly and specifically explain how the rhetorical strategies are used to help the writer achieve his purpose and reach his audience. Okay? So here is a sample. So it goes sentence by sentence here, so I'll let you guys kind of go through that sentence by sentence, but at the very bottom I provide you with the full example. Reagan begins his tribute to the Challenger astronauts by acknowledging that the shuttle accident has appropriately postponed his planned State of the Union address and by expressing the depth of his and his wife's personal grief. He appeals to the mournful emotions, okay, so here we're getting into a rhetorical strategy, of the audience by admitting that he and Nancy are pained to the core, that today is rightfully a day for mourning and remembering, and that the accident is truly a national loss. So here now we have our quotes. He joins in the time of mourning in order to unify the nation and humbly admit that we share this pain with all the people of our country. This outpouring of emotion from the President conveys a strong, calming tone that reassures the nation that their grief is understandable and proper. This last sentence here is analyzing how the quotes here are emotional and why the emotional appeal is effective, okay? So the strategy the student is getting at here is pathos, or an appeal to emotion. Notice that all the quotes that the student provides has to do in some way with emotions, and then the analysis of the quote is explaining why those emotions are effective, okay? Understandable and proper here, okay? So you can go through sentence by sentence. It tells you exactly what to put in each sentence of your body paragraph, okay? But again, this was just the full sample of a body paragraph. And then your conclusion should explain the significance of Jefferson's argument. Why is it important to analyze his text even today? And then I've provided you some tips for writing analytical essays. Be well organized. Plan what you want to write before you start. It's a good idea to know exactly what your conclusion is going to be before you start to write. When you know where you are going, you tend to get there in a well-organized way with logical progression. Analytical essays normally use the present tense, so write in the present tense. Be objective. Avoid using first person. So instead of I think Louisa is imaginative because, try it appears that Louisa has a vivid imagination because. Do not use slang or colloquial language. Do not use contractions. Avoid using etc. Okay. An original title. And then analysis does not mean retelling the story. Many students fall into the trap of telling the reader what is happening in the text instead of analyzing it. Analysis aims to explain how the writer makes us see what he or she wants us to see, the effect of the writing techniques, the themes, the text themes, and your personal response to these. So it should not be a summary. You should not be just summarizing the text. You should be explaining how Jefferson is constructing his text. And again, the rhetorical strategies lecture is going to really help you understand the difference between those two things. So the steps I would take to write this essay, I would first watch the rhetorical strategies lecture, then I would do the reading, and as I'm reading, I would take notes on rhetorical strategies that I see Jefferson using in the text. And then I would create the intro, and then I would start drafting the body paragraphs and the conclusion. Okay, so that is how I would construct the paper. You'll notice we get to the initial draft of essay 3. Again, it's the same kind of assignment that I've been asking you to do, but of course there are different questions to answer for your peer's text because this is a different essay. But I have everything you need in here as well in terms of what you should be writing and what you should be looking for in your peer's drafts. So again, the intro is broken down. It tells you exactly what needs to go in there. The body paragraphs, does it identify the section? Does it use a rhetorical strategy? Does the evidence accurately illustrate the strategy? And then the student should explain exactly what the evidence means in his or her words, and also explain how the quote illustrates the strategy and how the strategy helps to support Jefferson's argument. This is really what we're getting at in your essay, is the how. How is he constructing it? Why is it effective? Okay, so that is the focus of the essay. Again, everything is kind of listed in multiple places throughout this unit. Everything you need really is on this prompt and in this video, besides the rhetorical strategies lecture, which will be in this module. Okay, so don't forget about that lecture. That is going to be super critical for you to be able to succeed with this essay, and it's right here in the 1022 folder. All right, or 1022 module, excuse me. All right, and then we will be submitting the final draft in the 1112 folder. Okay, so we have a couple weeks for this essay. The outline that you create for the Declaration of Independence reading will be really helpful. Okay, so once you click on it, I've given you the template so you can kind of see where we're going here. This is basically just for you to get down the main points of Jefferson's article. And then, main paragraphs of each of the different sections. So once you have the different main points, then you can start evaluating whether those main points are effective. So the outline should be helpful for you to help get down the main points. Rhetorical Strategies lecture will help you find the devices and how he's constructing those main ideas, and then you can start drafting your essay. All right, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me.